I think JASMY going to the price of $1, that doesn't seem crazy at all to me because people usually care about projects that are interesting, that are cool, that are fun. Also, on top of that, they care about hypothetical upside, and also they care about anticipated adoption in the future. And even though nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee, I think that JASMY pretty much ticks all those boxes because let's face it, it's not going to need the best adoption in the next 6 months to a year. But you know what? It has anticipated adoption. Just think about this, right? People are anticipating nowadays, which I've seen, right? That decentralized data storage, it could very well be the next big thing. And I do believe that. And JASMY, it's focused on exactly that. You got to think about how, we're starting to see, these projects like storage, like Arweave, like Filecoin, like Siacoin gain a lot of attention. And I think JASMY, it could very well be one of the most popular, if not the most popular amongst the group, because you got to think about how the community is the most vocal. I think it's the most passionate. I think it's the most, I would say lively. And that's why I think JASMY could do very well hypothetically during a fully fledged bull run, because even though we haven't seen that yet, I think as of right now, the bull run for altcoins is in like second gear. I still think that once it's in fifth gear, $1 doesn't seem that insane because people oftentimes like to complain that, oh yeah, you're saying all this, but no, that's not true, right? Only projects with good adoption will thrive. Well, let's take a look back in history. Take a look back at Solana. Even back in 2021, was the adoption great? No, it's pretty much caca. Even as of right now, I think it's pretty much caca because adoption for Solana, in my opinion, just isn't that fantastic. It's primarily known for having meme coins. There's nothing wrong with that. I love meme coins, but when people like to argue the angle of Solana having good adoption, that's why it's doing well, I completely disagree with that because I don't think that's true. Adoption isn't fantastic. It's not like Solana is like this amazing, mass scale adopted thing. At least that's the way I view it. When you take a look at JASMY, data storage, it's on the rise. We've seen meme coin projects go on the rise, right? We've seen AI projects, NFT projects, DeFi projects. I think it's only fair to assume that, during this bull run, once the, action is in fifth gear, I think that data storage is going to be such a huge narrative because it wasn't really a big narrative back then. And people usually, they want to look for the next big narrative. And data storage, I don't see why it wouldn't be that because, again, all signs are showcasing that it's going to be. And I think that hypothetically it will be because this is very interesting. Centralized data storage, I think that's a thing of the past. Yeah, sure. It's worked for a very long time and it's still working as of right now. And I still think it's going to work in the future. But you know what? Decentralized data storage could just be a lot better. Through decentralization, there won't be these multiple single points of failures. There will no longer be, these like certain entities that control like a bunch of data, right? It's going to be very different through decentralization, which is why I do believe that this could be amazing. And the data storage market overall is predicted to be worth nearly $800 billion, by the way, according to Fortune Business Insights by 2030. And it's not like this figure would really like necessarily matter in the next 6 months to a year because, again, JASMY isn't going to gain mass adoption. But I think that, if anything, showcases the grand vision that it has. It's focused on a market that could be so massive in the future. And again, during a fully fledged bull run, people care about that. They care about, what market they're focused on right now and what it could be. And JASMY, again, being focused on a market with that amazing of a hypothetical potential, I think that's going to work to its benefit. Not to mention, JASMY is the first ever legally compliant cryptocurrency in the country of Japan. So you got to imagine that. That's another cool and unique factor. People like that type of stuff. Not to mention, JASMY has great exposure. Listed in a bunch of major exchanges. Could it be better? Arguably, yeah. Things could always be better, but, it's good enough. And I think it's already enough to allow JASMY to hypothetically go to the price of $1 during this bull run. And it's not that crazy, right? Considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $50 billion. So it's not too bad. We've seen far worse reach far higher. Take a look at Dogecoin reaching over 80 billion and take a look at BNB reaching over 100 billion. I think JASMY is very dynamic. I think it's very interesting. The community feels like a meme coin type of community in terms of the passion, in terms of like, the heart and the soul, I would say. But then it's actually not a meme coin, right? Of course. So this is what I like about it. And again, of course, adoption is going to matter in like 10, 15 years from right now. But again, in the short term, people don't really care, usually in most cases. And also something that I think could be a major contributing factor for JASMY doing well during this bull run is because is something called perceived, competency. Now, that's what I like to call it, because people oftentimes, they gravitate towards these projects which they believe have good leadership. Take a look at XRP. People think Brad Garlinghouse is a good leader. That's why they love Ripple. In some cases, I've seen people say that, hey, they like XRP because of Brad Garlinghouse. That has happened. And when it comes to Jasmy, it could very well have that same effect, especially during a fully fledged bull run, because, you take a look at its team members filled with people who've worked at Sony, right? I'm talking about Sony again, right? The real deal here. It's pretty much one of the biggest things out there. Also, its team members include people who have worked at places like KPMG. So once people see that, hey, people in the Jasmy team, they used to work at Sony, they used to work at KPMG, this could be massive right here. Some of these people, in my opinion, arguably have much better work experience than Brad Garlinghouse. Brad Garlinghouse, yeah, he looks cool, but then if you actually take a look at the amount of experience that the Jasmy team has, it's pretty much almost unmatched, in my opinion, arguably, in the world of cryptocurrencies, or should I say like crypto-related projects, because that's how amazing the team is. You got to take also into consideration that according to Charles Hoskinson, who's the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano, he predicts that in the next 1 or 2 years, based on November 26, a video that he was part of then, he said he could very well see Bitcoin reaching either $250,000 all the way up to $500,000, again, in the next 1 or 2 years from then, right? November 26. So you got to imagine that. That right there, I think, if anything, indicates that this bull run could be so fantastic, because as the old saying goes, a high tide raises all ships. As Bitcoin reaches 200,000, 250,000, and maybe even beyond. I don't think 500,000 is possible, though. That's way too optimistic, but you know what? You never know. But even at 250K for Bitcoin, I think $1 for Jasmy really would seem a little bit bearish at that point. But you know what? I'm not changing that. I'm still up by a lot hypothetically when it comes to Jasmy. I haven't sold anything, which is why I have to say hypothetically. But you know what? I'm still not going to sell in the very near future, because I do believe that better days are ahead. I think 2025 is going to be the time to shine. And I think that $1 really wouldn't seem too crazy at all, at least personally for me, which is why I'm still staying bullish on Jasmy. If something Kaka like Luna Classic can pump, if something like, Litecoin can pump, if something like Klima DAO can find a bottom, I highly doubt that Jasmy is going to do bad during this bull run. At least that's in my opinion, which is why, again, $1 really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run, especially when I consider all those amazing factors that I mentioned before. And some people like to ask me, hey, if Jasmy goes to the price of 50 cents, are you still going to acquire? Absolutely. Because instead of my cash sitting in a bank account where it's kind of doing nothing, I'd much rather have it do something at least. So even if the hypothetical upside is only like a 2x, or maybe even, let's say we tone things down to like 40%, 30%, I'm still going to do it anyways, hypothetically, because, again, rather than having it being eaten up by inflation, I'd rather have it do something. So that's why I'm still going to continue to acquire Jasmy. It's not like once Jasmy reaches the price of 20 cents or something like that, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm good. No, I'm not going to do that. But even besides that, $1 is around a 21x from here. So there's still some room for growth there, which is why, again, hypothetically, I'm still acquiring Jasmy and I'm not giving up. And I think in the next 6 months to a year, man, things could be so different, but it's just a waiting game. It just feels so close. But you know what? I'm still going to wait anyways. Still going to stay patient and level-headed, because anything done under a high emotional state, in my opinion, is typically never a good idea, which is why I'm staying patient, cool, calm, and collected. And I'm going to stick with my strategy with dollar cost averaging and just wait until, hypothetically, Jasmy goes to the price of $1. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.